Thomas Philip Schnettler. I served in the U.S. Coast Guard from April of '81 through September of '86. On the Coast Guard cutter Dallas, the ship I was on, out of New York City, we were doing the search and rescue, or now it was a recovery of the Challenger. When we finding cracked helmets and bits and pieces of the ship or the spacecraft, and then you'll find a bag, Ziploc bag. It was a big one like this, from that teacher who had Kermit the Frog in it, and all school notes that she was going to do from up there, intact. Not one thing broken, burnt, was floating. And we got that, and that kind of, for some reason, just triggered something. And NASA made for all of us on the ship this, and they made a mold, and they said that they destroyed the mold after they made this. I did have one incident in Fort Myers where I did something I was totally scared because I just came out of boot camp. Some gentleman and his son, 10-year-old son, decided to go catamaran out on the Gulf of Mexico. I was told to put on the safety harness and then jump in, swim, grab the kid, bring him back, and then go get the dad. And I just came out of boot camp. So this is like a what? I'm doing what? But once you jump in, all that's gone. You know, now you're on a mission. You know, you're like, get that kid. And he all warmed up in that smile, and he's hugging his dad. That was just like, well worth it. You know, that was like, that right there. That's what it's about.
Hi, this is Judith Freudig, and I'm the hometown hero wife. And his name is Anthony R. Freudig. It was something that he was always driven about helping people, and he thought that service United States, and he had like the Marine. He shared in Somalia, for example. He said to me, sometimes I didn't eat much because I want to give it to the kids, because he unfortunately saw kids killing kids for a piece of bread. It was very hard for him, and that's something that he carried always. I really do appreciate that you guys have this kind of program so you can help people express the love for the loved ones, even if they're, you know, something like this. Because he's like, I know he's in heaven smiling. And he's smiling with us too, here.
My name is Evelyn Goodrow, and I was married to Nelson Goodrow for 60-something years.
My name is Chris Goodrow. Nelson Goodrow was my father. He did 2 tours in Vietnam. He flew, he was a bombardier navigator, and at the time during the Vietnam War, they had enlisted personnel filling in because they didn't have enough officers. So he was part of that enlisted crew that flew either back seat or next to the pilot. So he was a bombardier navigator, and his squadron got a lot of awards.
I worked at the Naval Air Station. He was stationed there. And so he would always come in my office to do different things, and that's how we met, started going out. And 2 years later, we were married.
And he did most of his career in Sanford, and then his last 2 years when they closed Sanford Air Base, they transferred him to Albany, where he was an instructor there.
And he drove home every weekend from Albany,
to be with
Georgia,
the family. He would leave out, he would get off work Friday.
So he wouldn't have to move.
When he got out of the Navy, he joined the Fleet Reserve and the VFW. And then a couple years into the VFW, he was elected commander at the VFW here locally. And then after probably maybe 5 years, he was district commander, who was commander over a bunch of VW posts around Florida.
We think it's great.
It's an honor for us to, my dad's for that, and he loved his Navy career.
My name is Randall Marshall. My father is John E. Marshall, Major John E. Marshall. He served in Korea not only as a fighter pilot, but also as a forward air controller. In those days, they only allowed you to fly so many missions. And after that, you were on the ground. Being a forward air controller, I mean, you were calling in dimensions and directions for strikes for the other pilots who were in the air. So he did that as well. For the Distinguished Flying Cross, he was quite proud of that. Didn't talk about it a lot, but I know from reading the commendation, he led his unit to attack some bunkers that were, I think, on the side of a mountain or something, and they were inflicting heavy casualties on the ground troops, and they knocked them out with their rockets and guns from their plane squadron. He was a good, hardworking man. Okay. Loved his country, loved his family, generous to others, help others, just all around a good person that you would want to know and have as a dad.
Billy R. Moore, March, well, years ago, 3/12/48. So I was drafted out of Cicero, Illinois, just outside Chicago, and my MOS was infantry. Oh, I was proud to serve. I was with a small unit, a little recon unit, and we got along fine. I think we were all not happy to be there, but proud to be there. Like I was engaged to my wife now then. Some of them were married. A couple even had children. And we'd talk about them and just getting home on that day, you know.
Thank you for that service, and thank you for being one of our Purple Heart recipients and still with us today.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wendy Greco. I'm the daughter of Robert Louis Greco, who served in the U.S. Navy.
And you said he was a commanding officer in the U.S. Naval Submarine Base?
That's what I read. He was amazing. There was nothing he couldn't do or fix. And when he passed, I was mad at him because I couldn't find his, what is it, the
DD-214?
Yeah, I couldn't find his stuff, and I couldn't call him.
If your dad were here today with us, and he were told that he was selected as a hometown hero and the title bestowed upon him by his city, what do you think your dad would say?
I think he'd be really excited.
If you had one last time with Dad to tell him about this day and what this means, what would you say to him? And talk to the picture.
Thank you.
My name is John Zook, and my date of birth is 7/1/22. I was a machinist, and they didn't want me to be released yet because I was working on government, very secret mission. In the Philippines was the first time the Japanese used the kamikaze. We were not aware of that, of even them thinking of that, and they came in very, very, very hard with many planes. Mine came floating in, you know, the kind with the big spikes on it, came floating in, and one of our men saw it. So we called in, or they called in to the Army to ask if they had someone that could take care of this. And I knew tools, so I volunteered. And we swam out to it, and he asked for certain wrenches, and I gave him out of his bag. I was carrying his bag for him. We're both hanging on to it, and he said, "Now, John, you have to climb on top of this mine, because when I take out this detonator, if I hit the side, it will explode and we're both goners." So he said, "We both have to get on top of this and ride with the waves." And I thought, then why in the world did I volunteer for this job? I'm not a hero. These fellows that came back in pieces are heroes. I came back whole. They're heroes. I'm not. I'm just another guy. I'm glad I had the privilege of serving. I'm very proud of that. But these fellows gave a lot more than I did. I'm very grateful for them. I really am.